Need a, we have two special meetings,
The only thing we have is, just to approve the first.
Alright. Need approval for, Jim made a motion to approve the minutes from April meeting.
Jerry and Sam.
Yep. The previous meeting, I asked for permission to buy a trailer to haul the mowers from the golf course to the softball field in Reedburn. The purchase policy says anything from $1,000 to $3,000. You need 2 oral quotes. I got 2 written quotes, $1,700 and $1,751. I'm gonna have to go see the trailers myself and make sure we can get our 84-inch mower inside them. So I think the one that'll fit it is gonna be the higher of the 2, so I've gotta get the one that fits our needs. So I need authorization to spend up to $2,000 on a trailer. All in our purchase policy. I already got it before, but I want to do it again because it's been a while.
And Jim and Bill.
Yeah. The golf course membership and the golf fees so far collected to date is $8,010.05. The actual golf fees are down a little bit because it's been terrible weather so far. Memberships are up a little bit. We did sell some memberships last year, but that went in last year's budget. The greens mower we leased when we first took over the golf course. We made the final payment on that and we own that now. It's got 585 hours on it. They're probably good for 3,000 or 4,000 hours. So if we have the golf course where it gets sold, someone should have a nice piece of equipment for a lot of years. Jerry and I extended the offer to the Hancock Central School to host the HCS golf team free of charge for the 2014 season. They're going to meet themselves and review that and discuss their options in early July. We've extended the offer every year, but they haven't taken us up on it. May 25th, there's going to be a special May 25th, a special program honoring Hancock's greatest generation. There's going to be a display of World War II vehicles and encampment on Town Square, presented by the Military Living Historical Society. Luncheon at the pavilion catered by the Legion Auxiliary for the Legion Roof Fund. There's going to be patriotic songs by the Family School Chorus. Welcoming remarks. Congressman Chris Gibson will be here for that. A benediction. They're going to present Fred Shakespeare plaque to the Shakespeare family, honoring all Hancock's greatest generation by U.S. Congressman Gibson and remarks of that generation. And Cobblestone Crossing is a band that's going to perform, I believe. So the whole day of events will be from 10 a.m. to 3:30 in the afternoon. There's funding available for river cleanups. Proposals are due by May 30th. $3,000 is available from the Upper Delaware Council for member towns and townships. We've got some in Pennsylvania. I'll get with Food Iron and see if there's anything we need to do. Not a lot of money to go around, but we might be able to get litter pickers or garbage bags or something to get some debris picked up. May is Mental Health Month. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas all Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and whereas there is a strong body of research that supports specific tools that all Americans can use to better handle challenges and protect their health and well-being, and whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation, and whereas with effective treatment, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives. Whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization and citizens share the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Hancock proclaims May as Mental Health Month in the town of Hancock and urges all residents of the town to increase their awareness and understanding of mental health, take steps to protect their own mental health, and support the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. And just a side note, one out of every 4 Americans suffers from some kind of mental health condition. And in the military, currently there is 25 suicides for every combat casualty. Now, this is a similar resolution to the one passed in Delaware County, and it's their 65th year that they have honored May as Mental Health Month. There is another resolution, Delaware County currently puts $95,000 in the budget for economic development and tourism-related industry, advertisement, stuff like that. Sullivan County, I think, puts $950,000 in their budget, and the surrounding counties really bump it up in that same equivalent area. But for the county to try to get money in the budget for tourism, it's really hard when we're fighting the 2% property tax cap. We haven't been able to stay under the 2% property tax cap yet. So what they're proposing is a resolution introducing home rule legislation authorizing imposition of a hotel motel occupancy tax in Delaware County Department of Economic Development. Whereas a hotel motel and bed and breakfast room occupancy tax in Delaware County will serve to provide dedicated funding stream to promote and develop the tourism industry in Delaware County and to reduce pressure on the property tax levy. Whereas economic development within Delaware County is substantially constrained by the imposition of the New York City watershed rules and regulations, requiring the county to place a significant emphasis on the development of local four-season tourism industry in order to maintain the sustainability of its communities. Whereas authorization for Delaware County to impose an occupancy tax must be first enacted by the state legislature and governor. Whereas for the foregoing reasons, it is the sense of Delaware County Board of Supervisors that it is in the interest of Delaware County to levy an occupancy tax on transient room rentals, generally known as a bed tax or a hotel motel tax. Now therefore be it resolved by the Delaware County Board of Supervisors pursuant to Article 9 of the New York State Constitution and Section 2 of the Municipal Home Rule Law, that the Board of Supervisors hereby request enactment of a law by the New York State Legislature authorizing the imposition of a 2% hotel motel tax, subject to enactment by local law. So they've got to take their action first, then it's gonna come back to the Board of Supervisors. I voted yes on this resolution to get the ball rolling. I drove truck over the road. I've been in 46 states, a lot of it I lived in the truck, a lot of times I got a hotel. I've never really looked at what the hotel motel tax was when I pulled over. I know we went to a wedding in Erie County, and the hotel and motel tax and recreation tax on our room was $16 a day. We go to Jekyll Island, Georgia on vacation, or used to before I got this job. I don't have vacations anymore. And there's an 8% bed tax on her. We got, what was it today? I looked in the magazine, it was AAA New York. So you flip through and you get to Delaware County, and the only two things in Delaware County that they advertise are the Kansville and Patakin reservoirs, because of the New York City allows boating on them now. They advertise the trail that goes from Grand Gorge to Bloomville, 35 miles of O&W tracks you can hike, bike, or exercise on. And they advertise Roxbury. They have a 24-room motel, and every room is designed after a specific Hollywood event. They got the Wizard of Oz room, it's green with gold carpeting and all that stuff. But they're all in the the outreaches of the Catskill area. And New York State is already funding advertisement for the Finger Lake region, the Adirondacks, the Catskills, all these other things. And Hancock is stuck on the outskirts of all, we're in no man's land. I support it, unless I hear otherwise from anybody that I represent. But I made sure, this has been in the works for 3 years, and I made sure that it's gonna be a dedicated funding stream. So if it does get enacted, that we can't get our little hands on it and use it for something else. It'll only go to economic development. And the way it's gonna be set up is a funding stream for the area chamber of commerce to apply for a grant from the committee that will oversee it, and then they can get a slice of the pie. And we don't want it competing with other things that they might be able to get a grant for. If they're in the watershed and there's a grant available for towns that are just in the watershed, then they're not gonna be they shouldn't go to this revenue pool first. It should be, I think it's a good thing. We've gotta get more people to visit Delaware County.
Wouldn't be much to pay for the island,
Delaware County, oh, what do I got? I got something else here. I'm just sort of jump a little subject here, but at our last meeting, we saw a presentation by the, public health nurse. Some numbers for Delaware County. In Delaware County, unemployed below the poverty level, there's 26.1% males unemployed. 37.8% of females are unemployed. New York State average is 24.6 and 30.7. Delaware County has the 6th lowest population density. And we're sort of talking about health and incomes and poverty levels sort of relay into health and substance abuse and alcohol abuse, and all that ends up upstairs in Delaware County in our welfare department. Everybody is pretty hardcore when it comes to welfare, but once you get in county government and realize what's there, and most of it's federally mandated, it's not really such a bad thing the more you learn. And I'm gonna kick into a little health thing that we're gonna get going on in a minute. Heroin is a big problem in Delaware County, and opiates, prescription drug abuse, and I think it was our March meeting, Social Services put on a presentation about heroin and prescription drug abuse, the parents that are sort of getting into trouble and the kids that are getting left behind. And the Commissioner of Social Services asked for a task force to be formed. That didn't come about. I think it was at the July meeting, it still hadn't happened, and I spoke up on the board floor and said we need a task force. The task force has been formed with Delaware County Sheriff's Department, Social Services, Public Health, Mental Health, Substance Abuse, New York State Police. We're reaching out to the sheriff across the river in Wayne County, all the local police departments, and out of the 19 supervisors, I think there was about 11 of them there at that meeting. Jerry attended it with me at the kickoff meeting. Then they sent out the survey, and they got the survey back, formed an executive committee, so we got some direction that's starting to take off. We have created anonymous hotline. We're gonna start getting some tips on some people. That was created by the executive committee, and I think it was the first meeting in April, I brought up that there should be a registry for people who are convicted of dealing drugs. We have a registry for sex offenders that prey on our most vulnerable people. This is no different in my opinion, drug dealers. If you're a convicted drug dealer, there should be a registry. You should get a little postcard, just like you do for the sexual predators, and we should know where they're located in our communities, so we can stalk them really, really bad and get them out of here. Well, it's gonna get really bad. I do have two, I reached out to, neighborhood watch programs. I got a couple forms that are gonna be distributed, how you watch what's going on around your neighborhood, suspicious vehicles, suspicious people. It's called Home Watch, and then there's another one, another type of form. And that'll kick into a little part I got going on later on, but that was sort of what Delaware County said. But everybody that goes to Delaware County Alcohol and Drug Abuse Services or are mandated to attend, or they're mandated to go to that program, either by probation, the drug court, it might be parole, or social services. So if they're mandated to go there, or they volunteer to go there, the people that are treated, 41.7% of them are for opiates, 12.5% are for heroin, and 29.2% are other opiates. And I was in the PowerPoint presentation, and I met with Bonnie Hamilton afterwards to find out what the 41% was of the total, what the total number was. And she didn't have that available. I'm still waiting to get that back. But a lot of the information was on the census, a lot of it was on Healthy New York government statistics, and Delaware County alcohol and drug abuse. I might do that PowerPoint presentation at a future meeting. Go farther on heroin epidemic, that's in your folder, right? They had a seminar at the county level. I think the Cornell Cooperative Extension put it on, but it was during the day in Hamden. 2 times during the day. It's just hard for us to get up there. I reached out to Coordinated Care Services. This is a training proposal on the heroin epidemic. The agenda is, the first section is heroin. This section will include a description of the drug, including brain chemistry, genetics, adverse childhood events, and the relationship with drug use, particularly IV drug use, epidemic of prescription drug misuse, and the relationship to current heroin use. And there's going to be a break in between. And then the second part is heroin, engagement, treatment, recovery, and continued stigma. And then there's going to be a dialogue and closing thoughts at the end. It'll be May 22nd at the Hancock Central School, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. I stuck my neck out on the line and said the town of Hancock would pay for this. I reached out to the village, they'll share the cost. It's $1,800 for the seminar, $900 a piece. I need an authorization, and I need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
Jim and Sam.
Yep. So there was a little press release that I did. I was waiting for them to do a press release. This will be in conjunction, the town of Hancock, the village of Hancock, we both paid for it. The Hancock Central School's on board, and Our Lady of Lourdes Memorial Hospital is also on board. So the chief of police is gonna be there, the sheriff will probably be there, and we'll lean on the state police and see if we can get some of those folks there. And I'm gonna invite the sheriff from Wayne County to go, and it's open to, anybody else that wants to go. We gotta get you registered, because she makes flyers. There's stuff she hands out, so the registration will be at Town Hall or Village Hall, or my personal email, and that's in the Hancock Herald. You can Facebook me too. Well, we'll get going. The first step is knowing what we're up against. Second step is sort of just kicking its butt like we do everything else. Well, about 4 months ago, Lord's Health Clinic met with me to talk about occupational health and safety. It sort of branched off into all these other things I've been talking about. I think Delaware County, the number one, 66.2 of Delaware County, 66.2% of Delaware County is overweight or obese. The number one killer in Delaware County is heart and circulatory disease. with cancer being the second largest. So we're talking about chronic disease prevention and care strategies. So we've been working with Lord's Hospital, and it just started as a brainstorming session. It's sort of involved into the town making July Health Awareness Month. So we're trying to get these events that are gonna be going on all month long. We're not gonna bother with 4th of July. The East Branch firemen do their field days that weekend, and we'll let people be with their families. The 12th and the 13th, we have the town square. The town of Hancock got the town square from the Hancock Partners. On the 12th, the Community Unity is a new group that's formed in the village. They're gonna put on a bunch of events on the 12th relating to family events. Melanoma research, we have one of our residents that's fighting melanoma cancer. So that whole weekend is sort of gonna revolve around melanoma prevention and education. On the 13th, we're having a 5K walker run from the village of Hancock to Kenosha and back. And we reached out to the Melanoma Research Foundation, and they're gonna help us put that event on. There's a lot of things they do. They create an online event site, they register and email it. Registration money will be going directly to them. They provide t-shirts, banners, vendors, etc. through them. All the money's gonna go directly from them. They hit a mailing list from a 50 to 100 mile area, postcards and emails. It's an email blast to everybody that runs or participates in these events at other places in the country. There's a legal agreement that's about 3 pages long. I've got to hand that off to Lenny. That'll probably spin off its axis, but registration free is gonna be normal for the marketing area. And they need sponsorships, but that's the whole thing in a nutshell. We think Congressman Gibson might come and run it. He likes to run. But I'll give Lenny the legal agreement to look over. I did reach out to Oneonta Porta Potty about putting 2 porta potties on the park for the weekend. ADA compliant, so people that are disadvantaged can have access to them. That'll be $340. We checked our budget, we checked our town law under expenses, and this falls under public health because we're promoting public health. So legally, we can fund it, so. I will need authorization for up to $400 for 2 porta potties for the weekend at the park.
Yeah.
I'll second that. I'm not gonna give you, you gotta take this home and study the line,
Yes.
and let you comment on it.
Gotta go, gotta go.
Yeah. And can you just scan that in for me?
Yeah.
Sure.
July 19th and 20th, we're having a golf tournament at our Hancock Golf Course. On Saturday, Fox Bowling is having a bowling tournament on Sunday. We'll have a champion from the golf tournament, a champion from the bowling tournament, team events, and then an overall champion of both. The 20, what's the last week? Gotta be the 26th and 27th?
26th, 27th,
Yeah.
yes.
That will be Fireman's Park, where the town pays for the lumberjack festival. People will come in and chop up stuff with saws and axes and do all kinds of neat stuff. Lord's Clinic is gonna have a health fair during that thing. And it's like all these events that we got going on, running, biking, kayaking, boating, blah, 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 golf, all that stuff. They're gonna have data there that shows how many calories you burn and stuff like that. They're gonna have the free mammogram machine, the bus that comes around, that's gonna be at the health fair. And they're trying to reach out and do some other things. We reached out to Coppertone for educational material for melanoma, to prevent melanoma, sunscreen, things like that. We reached out to Chinobi for yogurt for the runners, Sam's Club, Tops, Mains, and all these companies are real interested in donating things, so it's gonna be a big month for us, and it's gonna be every year. This is the kickoff year, and we got started real slowly. The last, we're not really sure what kind of event we're gonna have for the 26th and 27th. We still need a little bit of input from the community on that. We wanna do something that's river-based, either a boat float or inner tubes or kayaks. Maybe put them in a fish's eddy or someplace and have them float down to Fireman's Park and jump out at the field days. So it's all evolving. July is gonna be our health awareness month, and it's getting bigger and bigger the more we work on it. Research Foundation, the Eagle Scout project, I think since I've been town supervisor for 10 or 11 years, we've had 5 Eagle Scout projects. The last one was a walking trail. When we purchased the property from the county in Fish's Eddy, about 7 acres to relocate our building that got flooded back here to house our highway department, and put that in Fish's Eddy in the middle of the town. But we also, in that deal, acquired about 2 miles of the former O&W railroad tracks for a walking trail. And we had an Eagle Scout take on that project of cutting the tree roots and cutting the trees back and making it a nice little path. And that's called the Partridge Island Walking Trail. It's pretty cool, it's really nice. The area in that is called Partridge Island. That's the big island in the river that's located down there. Tom Sojo owned it and put it's got the conservation easement of the Delaware Highland Conservatory, so it'll be forever wild. And when you walk down there, it's really neat. Since that time, I got 2 more Eagle Scouts from the Holbert family. And there's a fishing access on one end of the county property in Fish's Eddy. And then our trail on. The wildlife, the deer and everything are sort of walking down in there, and they've got a trail beat down going from the tracks to the fishing access to get to the water and drink and have a good time. Well, he wants to turn that into just a walking trail, help pretty that up a little bit. There's some silt fence that was left back there from Marcy South. He's gonna clean all that up, make it a little bit safe because there's some big roots. So we'll have a walking trail from the fishing access to connect to our walking trail. On the Hancock side of that, Tom Sojo, that just said has the conservation easement, he has the other section of that railroad track. And he was an Eagle Scout when he was younger. So the other younger Holbert boy wants to do an Eagle Scout, and he's got a little bit of time. And Tom Sojo is willing to work with him to turn that other section into we could end up with almost 6 miles of a walking fitness trail down there. It's pretty flat, relatively flat. He's got some washouts on it that are gonna be, it's gonna take some time and money to fix those things. I spoke to Friends of the Upper Delaware River, and they're willing to either donate the equipment or pay for the equipment to fix the washouts and put the pipes in. I didn't feel comfortable putting town equipment on private property to improve that thing. So I think that's all gonna happen, and the goal of mine is to make this ADA compliant and have a place where people can take people that are in wheelchairs for a walk. So we'll be reaching out to younger Holbert boy, wants to apply for a grant to purchase some some wheelchairs that are, they're actually called hiking wheelchairs. They got a really wide front tire, and they should push nicely down there. Well, we got room to store them here. You can sign them out at town hall, go take your loved one for a walk and bring it back. That's the long-term goal. But while I was down there, we're walking along, the section that we own, I never realized, but I stepped over the bank by accident and noticed one of the old laid-up stone walls that were put in when they put the O&W through there. And we think it was put in there in 1869. And the water was splashing at the bottom of it and created a big undercut. And it sort of, to make this thing collapse and fall on. So I reached out to the county, and the county's gonna go down there and fix that thing immediately, so it doesn't get destroyed. There's some history there.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Looks like my basement.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna pass my smartphone around in case I get a text message in the back there, that won't be cool. But it is pretty neat. There's, a tree growing out, they're gonna cut the tree off, and they're gonna put some riprap in the base so it doesn't continue undercutting. And then the Eagle Scout wants to get a little plaque made with, how old that is, which will be neat. The economic study that we applied for a grant from the Upper Delaware Council for an economic study of what the cold water fishery and boating means to the town of Hancock. That's near complete. They did a presentation at the Board of Supervisors. They're tweaking it a little bit. We'll have them back to do a presentation to the town of Hancock. We got a grant for $5,000, and I think Delaware County Economic Development put in $11,000 from the host community benefit package from Millennium Pipeline with the first pipeline they put in. So it's a $16,000 study. It shows what the fishery means to the area, and the purpose of having this study is so we can go to New York City and say we need more consistent water releases. That spikes. The fishermen get on the internet. They look at what the cubic feet per second flow is in the Delaware. They know if it's 65, the water's too warm for fish. They don't even travel up there. The economic study shows actually how much money is being spent getting here and how much is spent while they're here. It's like $300 and something million industry for the Upper Delaware area. And there's a section in there about second homeowners, so it's pretty stout study. We're hoping we can use it against New York City to get them to be more consistent with the water releases. The other thing I got is I want to form a new recreation committee. We had a recreation committee in the past when we converted our old gravel quarry and Fish's Eddy, or Reed Burn. When we finished that up, we turned that 5 acres into a softball, soccer, and football field. We had a 3-person committee that oversaw it then. Everybody's sort of gone on to something else, so we have to use create a new recreation committee. Anybody interested in being on that is welcome to contact me. We have a agreement with the Delaware Opportunities, agreement between Town of Hancock and Delaware Opportunities in support of the Hancock Senior Dining Center. Enclosed herein find 2 copies of the above referenced agreement. As you know, the town has generously supported the Senior Dining Center in Hancock, and this has been gratefully accepted on behalf of the seniors that benefit. Your continued support in the amount of $800 will be appreciated. Should you find the enclosed agreement acceptable, please sign both copies and return 1 copy for your records, for our records. Should you have any questions regarding this matter, please contact me. They do takeout meals, and they do meals at the community hall located behind the Messenger Hall, they call it, right? Messenger Hall located behind the Baptist Church. And this program, it's I think it's federally funded, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a federally funded program. And the criteria that they do takeouts, and they don't get reimbursed much for the takeouts. They get reimbursed more for the people that come and sit in. So we've sort of got to promote this thing that it's okay for the seniors to go to this and participate in it. You're talking about a generation that doesn't easily accept handouts. They've got a lot of pride. It's not a handout. This is just a benefit, rewarding them for the years that they've sacrificed to get where they're at. It's a good program. Everybody, we had a meeting last night, And we've just gotta spread the word and try to get it promoted to get people to go there and hang out and eat lunch, because they get a better reimbursement and the program will expand and get better. Do I need authorization to sign on behalf of the town?
Yes, you do. This will be 40 years.
Jerry and Sam.
Yes. We need a computer program for that?
She wants to go to that.
What's that?
She wants to go to that seminar.
Okay, authorization to sign, just Debbie?
Mhm.
Authorization is to send Assessor Deborah Shea to Westchester County for a computer program training for the assessors. Yeah, for the assessors. I'll make the motion.
Sure, I'll second it. Yeah.
Jim?
Yeah. Upstate communities, town of Hancock, we're already in the town association. An actual bunch of upstate communities sort of branched off from that and formed the upstate communities. I did attend the dinner, paid for it out of my own pocket. Last month, it's probably about 13 towns right now that seem to have a lot in common upstate. There's gonna be another meeting Thursday, May 8th, 2014 at 7 p.m. at Deposit Town Hall. Learn about small rural communities that have partnered together to effectively attract people and business. Got a letter from John Keith. We've got our first installment of the community benefit grant. This is for Millennium Pipeline. We've got the first $20,000 host agreement payment from them, $200,000 over a 10-year period. We got a letter from Kathy Leadersdorf, attached to numerous photos of Hunger Hill Road in Long Island, New York. The conditions over the last few months have been incredibly dangerous with ruts and bumps over 9 inches deep and high. As you personally know from your visit this week, we saw you driving on the wrong side of the road. Any driver has to drive on the wrong side of the road to manage the exaggerated ruts, mud, and large depressions. I would like to know how this hazardous situation is gonna get resolved, as the spring rains can only make matters worse and more dangerous. I have lived on Hungry Hill Road for 16 years and have never seen the road in such disrepair. It is clear that the heavy traffic from the compressor station trucks ruin the road, but it is the town's responsibility to make sure residents have safe roads to travel. I don't know the specifics of the financial compensation the town has negotiated with Millennium, but clearly the town is responsible for making the road safe for taxpayer citizens. Since the construction began, the town has been putting Band-Aids on the problem. Since the construction began, the town has been putting Band-Aids on the problem spots by dumping crushed stone on the mud, which simply disappears into the mud during the subsequent rainstorm. I expect a long-term solution should be planned, as dumping more crushed stone on the existing condition is a big waste of taxpayers' number. Please let me know how and when the town intends to repair this dangerous situation. Was tough. It was tough for a lot of roads this winter, but it was exaggerated by the traffic that road saw from the construction. We had, when we were dumping the number 2 stones up there, that wasn't the town of Hancock. That's something that Neil negotiated with Don Miller and Millennium Pipeline. And they hired Gary Peak to put the stone in the depressions. It's what we do on every road. You're a highway superintendent. When you get a funky soft spot, you fill it with stone in the winter until you get to good enough weather where you can
What
work
else
down.
you gonna do, you know?
Well, that was all paid for by Millennium Pipeline while that went on. Neil was reluctant to go up there and work on everything he had a disagreement with Don Miller as to what was gonna be taken care of, and he didn't feel like he should go in there until he had those matters resolved. Before this started, Millennium Pipeline in the town, the road was videotaped from the bottom to the spur road, so we know what the condition of it was before. The top part was dirt, it was tarred and chipped, stone and chipped at one time, but while Grayling was highway superintendent, that was scaffired up because it wasn't cost effective to replace it. The hill was still double coat tar and oil. Millennium Pipeline, we had a $50,000 or $100,000 bond on $50,000 bond to make sure that road would get fixed from 97 to the top of the hill. Neil's sick, he's not here to, I think it's 1 mile or a little more, I don't have the particulars, but
2.5.
is it close?
2.5, yeah.
Yeah. So I went up and saw Bob Sanzaverino, called, I wasn't able to talk to him on the phone, so I went to his house. We had the discussion that night where I said, as soon as Neil gets the check from Millennium Pipeline or Don Miller, he's gonna put the town crew on that road and fix it. And when I got back that evening, we got the check, the town crew was there the next day, I think we've been there ever since, so. Now you're seeing the effects of the right construction season and the capability of our crews. So when it's all said and done, that road is gonna be one of the best in the town of Hancock. We've got the $47,520 to do the hill. We've got an increase in CHIPS funding that the state made available because of all the pothole problems. I think it's $37,000 for us. So we're gonna use that money on the top part and double coat all the way past to, I think it's the spur, past Nathan Hubble's house.
Yes.
So it'll be a nice road up there. Guess that's really all I got about the road, and it was terrible up there. I'm with you 100%, I can't deny that. And there's some people on the agenda, that's later on in the meeting. We have a notice of claim against the town of Hancock. Please take notice that the undersigned claimant hereby makes a claim against the town of Hancock, Lindsay White, on Peasetti Road, Hancock, New York. The section of road that was tore out last year before Van and Sherry Peters' home, the rock ledge is on the right side of the road. When you're heading down Peasetti, you must hug the right side of the road because of the steep embankment on the left with no guardrails on it. She slammed into a rock big enough to stop the vehicle and bent the frame on the car. The negligence on part of the town of Hancock, described in detail as due to no maintenance to Peasetti Road, the ruts are so deep. Upon topping the hill, they cannot get out of the ruts and slammed into a rock from the rock ledge mudslides that occur daily and are not cleaned up. $1,500 damage. It shows pictures of the rock ledge failure. There's 3 pictures attached. Actually, it's in that. This was, last year, this was phase 1 of the project. We've had several slope failures in the area. Grayling used CHIPS money to scrape the face of that rock ledge. The guide rail was removed to take the plane of the road down. It was quite a drop off, so we shaved that out so it's not, there's better visibility when you come up the hill. Rather than coming up like that, you sort of shaved it off. Guide rail was removed for that. Neil has it, as we saw in the previous meeting. It's in the budget to do phase 2 of that project this year with blacktop, and town forces will put the guide rail back up. That has been sent to our insurance car, and we had to redo it twice because there was some paperwork that wasn't signed. That's all your stuff, I think, right?
Yep.
All right, Lenny?
we needed to redo the request for proposal for real estate agency or broker to market the golf course. I updated the dates and redid the proposal, and it's being published in the Hancock Herald, as you see, for its second week in a row. You're very welcome, Sally.
Yeah, thank you, yes.
We also needed to roll over the bond anticipation note of $90,000 to keep current on the payment for the $100,000 that was used to refurbish the building at the golf course, the clubhouse. I did all of that paperwork rather quickly because had inadvertently not made the payment. So we got all that paperwork done in one day, and we got it all set and all taken care of, and the closing went ahead. And the bond anticipation note was rolled over, so that's all taken care of. And we continue to consult on various freedom of information law requests, et cetera, and other things that come in on a day-to-day basis, but we'll wait to see what the agreement looks like, Sam. My head's gonna rotate and I'm gonna vomit green. Okay,
That's gonna be pretty.
thank you.
I'll let you take one and study.
Yeah, I want to send me an electronic version.
And you got anything?
No.
Neil's absent. We did have, engine failure in the 2006 International. Been leaking, taking 5 quarts of oil a day. This goes all the way back to last fall. This spring, when we took it up to Stadium International, could be 2 to 3 cylinders bad in the motor. $6,000 to $8,000 to repair each one. $40,000 for a new motor, which we just put in 2 years ago. We spent $32,000 to put a motor in it. Had this piece of equipment gone to Stadium International in the fall, when it was made aware it was losing 5 quarts, it would have still been under warranty. Because it went after January 1st, it's not under warranty. Neil,
That's when we had rebuilt a while ago?
yeah, we put a new crate motor in it
That's right.
2 years ago.
No
So,
more.
Neil brought it back, and gonna wait till he comes to the board meeting, I guess, to discuss it. Yeah, we've had some catastrophic failures on the highway department. We had a transmission in the John Deere grader, we had the motor in the International tractor, we had 2 Ford pickups, we had to put a motor in one, catalytic converters on the other 2. You know, he instituted some things. I sort of asked him up at the golf course when he told me about this motor, so I can't believe everything's going so bad. I take pride in the amount of money we put in the equipment the last 10 years. We've turned this whole thing around. We've replaced everything. And to have catastrophic failures like that is not acceptable in my opinion. He told me that before any vehicle leaves the shop, the guys are doing pre-ops and checking the fluids and following federal law on the CDL vehicles that you're supposed to be following, and that wasn't being done. That's-
He's got charts for every vehicle, and
Yeah.
everything is done to it, and
Started, yeah, like Bill said, started charts.
he's doing a fine job. But that don't mean that you got this stuff happen, or he's gotta do something about it.
No. So, I think he's going right with the preventative stuff, if we just save the stuff we invested in. Got anything from the councilman before we go to open meeting? We got people on the agenda. Alright. We got, Bob Sanzaverino was the first one to get on the agenda.
I just wanted to thank you and Neil for getting back to me, you know, when I called up and trying to take care of the problem. It seems like every person I talk to has a different idea of what's going on up there. So that's, I just want to get everybody on the same page here tonight on, you know, how we're gonna fix Hungry Hill and who's gonna pay for it. I know, you know, like today there was 7 or 8 men up there, there was 5 pieces of equipment, there was the dump trucks, you know, he was bringing stone in, he was actually digging it out to fill it in the right way. So it probably cost the town $4,000 between the added fuel, the benefits package, the salaries, you know, wear and tear on the equipment. And like you say, they've been there quite a bit. When they were doing the stream crossing, all the town of Hancock equipment was there helping Millennium on Millennium's property. Right? We read
In the
many
beginning of the
places.
project, did you say?
Excuse me?
When the town of Hancock was on the Millennium property, what was that about?
When they replaced the stream crossing, they put the bridge in. That was in the beginning there when they first started. Grayland was the town supervisor. You know, now Neil's ended up with this problem, which he didn't create, but, so when I'm, you know, I just wanted to understand who's gonna pay for it all, because this is gonna be an expensive road repair. I don't know if anybody's been up there lately. Anybody drive the hill lately? Nah, you know, it's probably worth a ride.
Yeah, you can see, I got those pictures.
Yeah, it was printed, you know, many times that Millennium was gonna leave the road in the condition they found it, on their dime. Now everything's changed, you know? Neil was up there putting the stone down, told me Millennium paid for the stone, but Hancock was doing all the labor. Their men were spreading it and putting it down. It was a $45 million project up there. That's what it cost to build the compressor station. You know what I mean? That's what they said. They're probably 2 weeks before they're done, you know, from what I understand. They're pulling out, they're pretty much done with the whole project. So, you know, the only way I can think of to get Millennium to pay for it, because obviously you have a $50,000 bond, which isn't gonna do anything. You know, Mike Armanack from Millennium called me back, because I complained to him about the road, and told me he was only responsible for the blacktop part, which is about a half a mile. So the other 4 miles of road is the town's problem, right? They're almost done with the project, you put the weight limit signs back up, and don't let them finish until they agree to fix the road. I mean, they have the money, where the town really doesn't, you know? You told me we're getting the $41,000 from the state for the CHIPS program, extra, and you're gonna use that to fix Hungry Hill. But that's not what the taxpayers really want. They want Millennium to pay for the whole thing. You know, why should we put $41,000 in this, you know, probably more than that in labor already up there? And the road's still a disaster. You know, Schaefer Trucking's coming in the back way now, because you guys are trying to fix coming up the hill, so they're coming in the back way, which is supposed to be our evacuation route, and that's destroyed. You know, he spent a lot of time and a lot of money dumping all that stone up there and mud. It wasn't a very good job, but it was better than what it was. You know, so, you know, basically, I just wanna know how you're gonna get Millennium to pay for it, so all the taxpayers aren't getting screwed.
How much do they pay us today, Pike or Millennium?
I can pull the paperwork out. Just a second, we've gotten a lot of money between Pike and Millennium. Let me just grab my folder.
Well, you know, Mr. Earl, you told me that last year they gave you money and the town ran short on money, so you used the money for Hungry Hill and other things. You know what I mean? I mean, really, the road's gonna be more than $50,000 bond. You know, who made the road maintenance agreement? You know, I personally had a problem with Millennium because I had covenants and restrictions on the property. When I come to find out that my attorney never filed them with the deed, and she lost the original documents. So, you know, that's a big no-no. So that's how I lost my battle. But how did the town lose their battle? How did we end up, all the taxpayers end up gonna have to pay for this road? Which will probably never be right. We can't wait till August to get the thing tarred and chipped. If you take a ride up there, 2 cars, the dust is unbelievable now. You actually can't drive. You have to sit at the bottom of the hill and wait for the dust to settle to drive up because you can't see where you're going. You know, I mean, and this isn't really a surprise. You know, last summer when we had all these meetings, here's a copy of the speech that's on file with the town. You know what I mean? I already warned you about all this stuff.
Yeah.
And everything came true. And there was a head-on collision already on the road with injuries. You know, like you say, you can't drive up the road on your side of the road. You gotta keep weaving to avoid all the potholes. And Mike Armiak's telling me he's only responsible for the bottom half a mile. Who made the road maintenance agreement here?
Well, the top of it was dirt. I mean, what are you gonna make?
Oh, well,
them
no,
responsible?
like you said, it was paved all the way to the spur road at one point.
But Millennium, it was removed before Millennium got up there.
Okay.
That had
Maryland
nothing to
got
do
fired
with,
that up.
that had nothing to do with Millennium at all.
No.
Changing it from paved.
Right, that happened years ago, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it is
was all
destroyed.
torn up by the town, so the
Yeah.
taxpayers paid to have that all tarred and chipped. And then the taxpayers paid to tear it all up because we couldn't afford to do it over.
Yeah, I know. Sad, huh? Going
You know,
backwards.
and this isn't, it's not the only road in the town, every road in the town ain't.
I agree with
bad.
you, but this
But the
road,
problems that were on the hill, you know, by having all that construction and seeing those problem spots, having the vehicles that went up there have exposed some problems that we would have had eventually anyway, with under drain.
you think so?
So, definitely.
10
That's
trucks
what
for 3 months in a
25
row?
years in the construction business.
10 trucks for 3 months in a row, trucking dirt out of there.
Yeah, but I mean.
It would have taken
you
100 years
go-
before that many
you
trucks
go
went up
along
there.
on the top and everything was fine, I was up there 6, 7 times. You go
Alright.
through a section and everything was good, and then boom, hit a punky spot.
Who made the road maintenance agreement? That they're only responsible for the blacktop part?
How much did we get from Pike?
Okay, well, Pike has paid us a variety of times. We've got 31,000 here, and then 12,000 there, so that's 43, 44. And then here's 98, so that's
Okay, well, that's all good.
142.
This is the road just finished saying this
This
CHIPS
is-
money was
that's on-
going into Hungry Hill.
No, that's Pike. And then the money, but Millennium is only responsible from where they use the road. If the whole
The
road,
entire
part of the road is our
They
responsibility.
use the whole road both ways. If you go up there tomorrow, Schaefer Trucking will be coming up the back way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know about that, and then we just got a check, from Millennium for 47,500, and that'll be used for the tar and chip, and I also think that's to help pay for some of the materials that we're using now.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to be tar and chipping this surface.
In August, he told me.
Putting French drains
June.
in all the punky spots.
Oh, he told me in August.
No, I think it's in June that he's gonna try and do it.
He
He's
accelerated
planning
that,
Yes, he did, he's
he
planning.
moved it up.
He moved it up.
Yes, it's
Okay,
June.
so we're gonna have the
It'll
road
be
fixed
June.
by June. Chip, tar,
Before
and
the
chip.
end of June, you can't do
Yeah.
it now, the weather is not,
Okay, and Millennium's,
it would
but
not
this,
make any
this isn't
sense.
costing the taxpayers a dime, you're saying?
The top part of it,
That, I know.
they're going to hell, like 1.2 miles or something.
Yeah, if you
Well, the
talk to
blacktop part
Neil,
is
he
half a
can
mile.
tell you exactly.
I've spoken with Neil 5 times
Okay,
already, you
so
know?
then you know.
That's why I'm here, because I feel like the taxpayers are gonna get the short end of the stick on this.
I don't know, so.
I don't know.
You know, if you just
I mean,
finished saying you're
You're
gonna
gonna end
use.
up getting a really good road and we're not paying for all of it. I mean, we could see what Pike already, you know, what's been put in there and for
Well, there's no
hauling
way that that money
material.
went into Hungry Hill, I can tell you that, I drive the hill 5 times a day.
That was reimbursed, the rock that we got, that we all hauled to make the road for the second way out.
All that rock that was hauled, we
If
did not
would've had
pay
to
for
buy
it.
that, we
Right,
couldn't afford to
So,
do it.
yes, so it went into Hungry Hill, it did, every bit
Oh,
of
you
it. That
paid-
rock didn't go anywhere else, it went into Hungry Hill.
well, the rock and mud, if you went up there,
Okay,
it
so
was a
it's-
waste of time, because you can't drive it anyway.
Well,
This is town board thing.
yeah, okay.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Jessica Kenyon?
Yeah, I have a copy of what I'm gonna read to you. First, I'm gonna say good evening, and I'm gonna start off on a positive note, that on behalf of me, myself, my husband Andy, and our 2 children, I would like to personally thank Neil Emmerich and the town of Hancock Highway employees for the work they have done on Hungry Hill for the past few days. I do know that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done before the job is finished. Getting up and down Hungry Hill without dragging my car every day is a pleasure. I am very hopeful that one day we will have a nice road to travel on. Having said that, I now have to move on to how disgusted I am that Millennium was even allowed to destroy the road and then say they are not responsible for making the repairs, as we've all been told by Mike Armiak. Of course, this is Millennium's story with everything they are involved with. The company destroys things and says it's not responsible for making repairs. On a personal level, we had an inspection of our home before Millennium began constructing its compressor station across the street from our house. At the time, Millennium also agreed to pay for an interim inspection and a final inspection after work on the compressor station was completed. Blasting by Millennium damaged our home, cracked the poured cement slab and in all 4 poured concrete walls in our home. We reported this damage to Millennium and had asked for the interim inspection we were promised. But Millennium has refused to honor its pledge, and we have it in writing. Instead of performing the inspection, Millennium representatives now tell us that we should wait until all work is completed and they'll perform a final inspection. Town of Hancock laid out the welcome mat for Millennium when it decided to build the Hungry Hill Road. Delaware County even gave Millennium tax breaks for building a dangerous compressor station that is ruining our home and our lives. And I am here tonight asking if the town will now help us make sure Millennium keeps its word and performs the interim inspection, which is long overdue. This is not the first time we've been victimized by Millennium. At one point, when the company was blasting, our water well went dry. Millennium gave us a proposed contract that they would give money to pay for a new well. Of course, this contract had many stipulations, and before we had time to even consider their offer, they withdrew the offer after the local media found out that my family was advised to evacuate our home at night because of an emergency that occurred at the compressor station on December 5th, 2013. I do not believe that Millennium has been 100% honest with the public about what occurred that night. They said the incident was only equipment malfunction. Yeah, right. My family and others overheard a conversation on a handheld radio between Millennium's employee that described a 2-inch crack in the gas pipe that had expanded to over 3 fingers wide. We were asked to leave our home at 9:30 p.m. But they told the papers this was not an emergency. Try reassuring this to your 4-year-old and a 13-year-old when you hurry them out of the house on a cold winter night. Now, I'll remind you, the incident occurred at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 7:30 they discovered the pipe was cracking.